You just introduced a piece of legislation, the improved patient care, or to improve patient care and curtail a nurse shortage, if I get that right. Tell us about it.
Well, 98,000 people a year die in hospitals. It's kind of a dangerous place to be.
You mean who didn't intend to die, who shouldn't have otherwise died?
Oh, yes, that's right.
As opposed to people who just die.
Well, yes, people die in hospitals. No. This is because of something that happened at the hospital. One of the problems we have is that there aren't enough nurses. And the nurse-patient ratio is so high. They have so many patients that actually nurses begin to flee the profession because they come home at the end of the day and was I able to turn Mrs. Smith and think about what they weren't able to do for the patients. What this bill does is establish a nurse-patient ratio, much like California does, and it actually improves patient care.
That's great. As the father of a nurse, I
okay.
know these topics.
Great, and we want to lure people back into nursing as well, and make working conditions possible.
It's a tough business now, particularly in the corporate, realm. Senator Sanders was just on, and he was singing your praises with regard to tax legislation in the House. We have just a minute before the break here.
Okay.
What's going on? You came on our TV program and shared with us progressive budget. We talked about it on the radio. Where is it?
My Fairness and Taxation Act, which taxes millionaires and billionaires, new tax brackets starting at $1 million, ratcheting up to $1 billion, because yes, there are Americans who take in $1 billion in 1 year, and it would be the fair way, rather than cutting the Women, Infant, and Children program or the Medicare, ending Medicare, by asking the wealthiest Americans who have benefited the most to pay a bit more. Yeah. Now, I have 21 co-sponsors with me. We're working on it, and we're talking a lot about it, that we can cut our deficit and still meet the needs of the American people and not erode further the middle class.
We've got to get the media to pick up on this rather than just Paul Ryan. I mean, it's just nuts.
Well, my bill was voted one of the 5 best bills you've never heard of.
Yeah, and well, I've been trying to make sure people know about it. People keep saying, what's the Democratic alternative? The Democratic alternative came out of the Progressive Caucus. Jan Schakowsky's. Anyway, we've got to take a break.
Okay.
Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky with us. We'll be right back. So, Congresswoman Schkowsky, how can people support what you're doing? There needs to be, or is there some website like, goodtax. Something or other, or is there some?
Well, I'm easy to find. If people go to my website,
Schkowsky.house.gov.
Yes, then you can find me. But we are working with the Progressive Caucus to get this legislation widely heard. And the Progressive Caucus, by the way, is going to be doing a jobs tour this summer, going around the country, talking to Americans about good jobs, not just about jobs. We had a press conference the other day where a woman was saying that she was an associate at Walmart, but that she can't raise her family on that, and asking the question, do I really need to work 3 jobs in order to live a middle-class life in America anymore?
Well, that's what 30 years of Reaganomics has brought us.
That's what it has, and it really has hollowed out the middle class, and we have become a downwardly mobile society. The new jobs are not the good jobs that people can live on.
Joe Biden came out today and he said, we're down to the point in his negotiations where I'll give up my bicycle if you give up your golf clubs. And, to kind of strangle that metaphor, for some people, the bicycle is how they get to work. I mean, it seems like there should be some things that aren't negotiable. It seems like even operating within the frame of what can we give up shouldn't be where Democrats and where the Vice President are.
To me, with all due respect to the Vice President, who I admire very much, I think you're right. They are not analogous. Golf clubs, I'm not against golf, but that in order for someone to be able to play golf, that I would have to give up my bicycle. No. I think we have to draw the line, because that's what's going on right now. The middle class is being asked to give up nutrition programs, and poor people give up nutrition programs. They want to get rid of Medicare in order to be able to continue funding the wealthiest Americans and the companies like General Electric that don't pay any taxes whatsoever and get a rebate from government, or the oil companies. You know, no, we're not going to give up our bicycles so people can afford to play golf. I hear what he's saying. You give up your golf, but it's easier to give up golf.
Yeah.
Way easier.
It was a metaphor that was really easy to say, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This is the, I think very unintentionally, this is the
Yeah,
perfect example of the bad
right.
metaphor. It's,
Right.
But they're still operating within the context of this frame of who's going to give up what. And I'm not hearing, how about the billionaires giving up something? I'm not hearing about, how about the transnational corporations giving up their workforce in China and bringing those jobs back to Illinois and bringing...
You know, and it also makes the assumption that equal sacrifice means we start with where we're at, except unfortunately, most people have been sacrificing literally for decades. You said, you know, really starting with Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
And most of the sacrifices they've made have redounded to the benefit of the people who I haven't been sacrificing. So why don't we start with them and not with the people who want to go to college or want to be able to get their Medicare.